Hi, so I am sitting here with Daniel Peera.
Hello,
I've
hello.
known Daniel for so long, and I'm just so excited because his career is just taking off.
Shannon, thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you for having me. And I owe a lot of it, so much of it to you and the acting
I'll take it.
studio. So I feel good. I feel good about where it's going.
I still remember, just one of my favorites was uh, Lobby Hero.
Oh, you remember
Oh
Lobby
my,
Hero?
I remember Lobby
Good
Hero
script to work on.
and Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall, which
I'm,
Wolf of Wall Street. The scene, is it the scene with the water splash and bet or no? Which one was it?
because I'm sort of hoping I can see your face as you remember which one it
Is
was.
it the one where I'm crawling to the car? No, of the Quaaludes. Oh, oh gosh.
I
Oh,
think you dragged your face all the way across the floor of
that is
this.
so. The amount of times in a scene in class, you do something, you black out, you do something, and then you hear what you did the next day. You're like, you remember when you did it? I was like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. I didn't drag my face across. And yeah, sure enough, I did.
But isn't that the greatest part about being an actor is that's the high. That's the
Yes.
coming out the other side and going,
It's the high. It feels so good to gone on. You kind of you fall into the abyss. You go on this crazy ride and you come out alive and you're like, I want to do it again.
yeah,
You know?
again,
Especially
again.
when it's something new and you explore and you find something. It's a really special feeling.
And that's one of the things that I love about you is the exploration.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about you're hitting your stride, you're booking series regulars,
Yeah.
it's like happening. So, and we've got a couple of projects that I want to talk about. So Joseph of Egypt
Yeah.
and Lioness are
Yes.
two big, huge things that are coming out. You got to watch them. Watch them, watch them.
Yes, watch them.
So, those auditions, was there anything different that happened in that audition or in your preparation for those auditions?
Um I I don't think there was anything different in the preparation or necessarily even in the execution of those auditions. I think it was um, having the freedom to be yourself and explore, and you because you need at bats. So it takes, if you get 20, 30 at bats, if you book one of them, that's you're doing incredible. That's like a good batting rate, a batting average.
Absolutely.
So in those auditions, I feel like, because what you get booked for is what essence you're bringing and if it's right to that story. So if you just keep showing up prepared with a good attitude, confident, doing your work, you'll eventually slot in the right places. And that's what I felt like with Joseph of Egypt. That was my first major role. And because I had been waiting for a long time before that. I'd worked a little bit here and there, but I was ready. And that was it couldn't have been a more perfect role for me and like what fit in terms of who I am and what I can bring to a character. So it's kind of just a matter of getting your at bats, keep doing good work, showing up, and then the opportunity comes and you can deliver.
And what can you tell us about that character?
So Joseph of Egypt, it's an old biblical story from I think 1700 BC, and it's funny. I auditioned for the role of Joseph, the lead role at first, and he was the youngest brother out of 12. He's the favorite, and all the other brothers get jealous of him. But he's 18 years old, and I pinned the role, and I was so excited. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna!" And I was like, this role is perfect." Blah blah blah. I didn't get it and I was heartbroken. Shortly after, the audition process started again, and I got the role of the oldest brother, Reuben. And I showed up to set, and I realized it fit. I was the oldest one out of all the actors. I,
Hmm.
I brought that leadership to the actors. Like some of the relationships in the script were the same dynamic of the human beings on set. And it worked. There was so many other weird ways where it works, like your life story and the script story. And I'm like, I couldn't have, been any more synergy in that.
Oh,
So
that's
I was really
fantastic.
grateful for that. And I got some good footage. I cannot wait for you get to see. I got some really good footage from that.
Tell me how you booked Joseph of Egypt.
So it's a long story coming from a long time ago. I think 3 years ago, I had auditioned for this showrunner, Dallas Jenkins, on a small part on his show, The Chosen. It was a guest star role. And it was one of the few roles that was being cast in person after the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
So I went in, I had my little audition for the one episode guest star, and me and him had a conversation after. He was really impressed. He was, you did a good job. And we're talking. Nothing ever came out of that. 3 years later, I get a message saying, hey, direct request from production wanted you to read for this role. And I said, that was, I guess, culmination of you show up to work every day, you never know who's watching or what role is going to manifest into what. That audition 3 years ago could turn into, oh, you have a step ahead and something really important, which is what ended up happening. And then I told you the story of how I booked Ruben, the oldest brother. So that was a long story. And he saw me on set and he said, I thought about you, and I didn't know if you were still acting or not. So I looked you up and I saw you were on social media. So I decided to message you. I said, sometimes the world works in mysterious ways.
Isn't that great? But that was the great work that you did 3 years prior.
Right.
Being ready,
Being
present,
ready.
not going, that's
Yeah, you
one day
show
guest
up,
star
do
or
your
one day.
yeah, you show up every day, do your thing, and you never know where that could lead, even down the road, which is
Because there are so many times where you go in and you did a great job,
yeah.
and yet you don't book it.
You don't book it.
And you don't know.
I was just moaning with Aaron out there saying, I did so great on this one audition. Why didn't they call me? Sometimes it just doesn't work. You don't work of what they are visioning their story to be. And that's okay. Because when it is your turn, you'll be right for that, which I deeply believe.
One time I read for a director who also had been an actor.
Yeah.
And still acting, as a matter of fact. And it was so good. Like the audition went so well, and I was so excited about doing this movie. And then I didn't get it. And he wrote me a note
Wow.
about how wonderful I was and how much he wished he could have hired me. And that was just such a gift to me, because
it is such a gift, because it's a hard business where 90% of the no's are you just get ghosted.
Right.
You don't know. And I know you've told us, the win is getting the audition, and that really is the win. But it would be nice to also know, that you did a good job.
It's the town of the fast yes and the slow no.
Right. Right. Oh, wait, I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is true.
Every once in a while you get the slow yes.
The
but
slow
pretty
yes,
much,
but yeah.
but pretty much it's like, all right, I give myself, when I was working as an actor, 12 hours or whatever to enjoy thinking I've got the part. And then it was like, okay.
That's a good way to
They
think.
lost their funding.
That's
It's never that somebody else got it.
No, it's they lost their money. I'm going to steal that from now.
Absolutely.
That's so hard, is how much do I manifest myself getting that role after it, or how much do I just, let it go? And I think you're right.
Right.
You take the day to imagine it's yours, and then,
And
forget
I
about it.
tell people oftentimes to take a look at who they ultimately cast, because
Yeah.
sometimes you'll see it's somebody totally different
Right.
age, or they cut the character altogether,
Right.
or
Right. You never know what it is.
right.
It's rarely about you weren't good enough.
Correct.
It's more so of this other person fit that just a little
We
better.
went with this person who looks like they would go with this person more if we'd gone with that one. And yeah.
And that's really hard to, I think, cope with. I found early in my career, and still to a degree, when there's not so many opportunities, because you hang on to everyone like, oh, it's so important, I got to get it. But if you're getting the auditions that are coming through consistently, you can relax a little bit, because the next one's coming next week, as opposed to when it's all I'm holding on to this one. You put the pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to hate when people would say, oh, well, you'll just get something while that's happening. Like
That's
they were waiting
what
for
I tell
something
myself
else.
whenever I didn't get it. No, now I have to book something while that's shooting. Otherwise, it wasn't worth it.
And then 3 months go by and you're like, well, there was nothing. So, okay,
So true.
let's talk about Lioness, because that's such an amazing show.
Yes, I am so excited. Season 3 Lioness is coming out in 2 weeks. Check me out on it. I can't say too much about Lioness, but it was an incredible experience. We shot in Dallas. I mean, the budget of that show, I think, is something like $20 million an episode. So they pull out all the stops. It's a full production, and Taylor Sheridan, the scripts and the world he builds. It was really exciting to.
And how is it to be an actor on one of his sets? It seems like it would be fantastic,
Yeah,
but
it was fantastic, and you can tell the energy is great on his set. I was only there for that one day, but the energy that everyone was bringing to the last day of set was incredible, and I think that probably goes a long way in saying what kind of set they run when everyone shows up excited, because you can tell when the energy is drained out of a place, but everyone,
especially towards the end of the
especially
season.
towards the end of the season, but everyone was raring to go and excited. I was like, really, wow, I was impressed. And I think that you can tell probably in the freedom that people have on set, which I really enjoyed working, where I haven't always got this, but it's like after a take, hey, why don't you try something totally different? Reminded me in class, like just an exploration. Hey, let's do it. Come from this angle. Imagine the relationship is more headed in this direction, just out of exploration. And to get a chance on a big set like that, where you think maybe they're moving fast, but you get a chance 5, 6, 7 times per setup to play. That's exciting. That was really cool.
Oh, that's especially when they've got, multiple Academy Award winners
Yes, yes,
on that
yes.
show.
I mean, the big hitters are on that
Right.
show.
And that
So
they're giving you the chance to play and yeah.
giving you the chance to play, and that's something I've learned from you guys, is you can take your liberties. Don't ask anyone. What was it? It's like ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yep.
Take your liberties, do what you want to do, and let them reel you back in, or give you whatever direction. If you have a compulsion or impulse, go do it if that's what feels right. And
Especially when they're giving you permission to.
especially when they're
Yeah.
giving you
Yeah.
permission to do. Um, which I did. I learned that on Joseph of Egypt, a way to communicate. That's one of the things I learned most on set, was how to communicate to the director and the showrunner and the writer if you have a disagreeing opinion. And I got to watch people, like seasoned actors, stand up for themselves and their character, and fight, respectfully, but hold their position against the showrunner, but because they came from a place of what the story needs and truth, as opposed to ego or whatever. And that was such a valuable lesson to learn, which I hope, now that I've wet my feet, I can bring that going forward.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I was really lucky to get to see that. Alexander Siddig played my dad in Joseph of Egypt, and getting to work with him every day, I was like, it was like masterclass every single day. I'm just watching him, as we're in the scene together. I'm like, you're so good.
And that's really I mean,
Yeah.
so often actors don't even want to be on set if it's not necessarily their scene or whatever.
Oh
And
no,
it's like when you've
no.
got actors like that and you can just watch and
Yeah,
soak it up
that
and
you're just excited to be around. I was really lucky to see that. So January 27th,
January,
Joseph of Egypt
yay. And on
on Amazon Prime.
oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so that'll be coming out in January.
Any casting audition? Tell me about the audition process for Lioness.
So Lioness process. I, I had auditioned for season one Lioness like 5 times, 5 different characters, which I was frustrated at the time, but that's a good sign. If you get an audition, that's a win. If you get called back, that's a big win, even if you don't book the role. So when I got the audition this year, I was like, oh, that's a good sign. Maybe they remember me. And it was just a self tape, and it was a short scene. Um, and it was an important role, but it was a short scene. It was one scene, and I remember, because I talked to someone else who had done the audition, but we approached it differently. I remember just finding something in the relationship that made sense in my life, and I brought it to that scene. And I think maybe that's what maybe made one of the differences. But it was just a self tape, and I got the call, and literally it's like, okay, fly to Fort Worth in 2 hours. Like, can you make it? You're like, yeah, I can. So sometimes that's how it works. You all year, and you get a 12-hour notice that you got to shoot out. But with the self tapes now, I think it's an advantage because you're at home, you're comfortable, you can do as many takes as you want, but then you don't get the in person, the connection, which I think is important in building the relationships.
But nobody else is either.
Yes, nobody
That's the
is.
one
No
good
one else
thing.
is. But it's, some of these shows you get cast for, you never even meet the casting, which is
Yeah.
hard. It's like which, but they hopefully remember you.
Clearly.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But yeah, you're right. So there's advantages at home self-tape, which I enjoy. I don't know if they give you an option what I would rather do, if they were like self-tape or in person, but
Most people I know nowadays choose self-tapes
self-tape.
because they're just
It's
so
totally you
ubiquitous.
can
Yeah,
control the whole environment.
yeah.
You can
You
you
can take that risk that you might not in the room,
yeah.
and then you're like, "Oh, I don't have to send that."
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't
Actually,
work.
that
Oh,
was really dumb. Yeah.
Right, you know?
You know?
And there are things that you can do that you would never do in the room.
Yes. Yes. Right. With like, certain liberties you take, even props. You can mess with
Right.
props,
You can be chopping something, so you're using a knife, but you're in your home.
You would
Never
never
bring a
do that.
knife
No,
to an audition.
never bring a knife. No weapons in casting offices.
Ever.
No, that is true. And you can do whatever you can take the liberty. You can do the outfit change.
Right.
You can do the whole thing.
You can, if the character's changing, or I'm always like, take off your shirt or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah,
I'm
go
like,
for it.
and if we see something, then
Crop it
right, we're
out.
not going to send that. So, yeah.
I hear stories about people who do self tapes, but out in the world, not just in front of a plain backdrop. Have you had any experience with that? Or,
Oh, yeah.
yeah?
And sometimes it works
Sometimes,
great.
sometimes it works great, right? I've never done that. I feel like if I tried, it wouldn't work. Is that like a situational thing?
Yeah. It's interesting. I've done it more with children
Interesting.
or with younger people. So, out, like a Western, there you are out in the off Runyon
Go
Canyon,
out
or
really out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
go off like play in the dirt.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to
That's
think
so
about,
interesting because I've seen audition, tapes before of people who booked it, famous like Odessa, how she booked something, whatever, Marty Supreme. And she was like in a phone booth recording this. I'm like, that's how she booked it. Yeah.
you can get into a car, maybe
Yeah.
your character's driving.
Okay. Yeah.
And, I never want people to get too cutesy, but if it helps you and
Right.
it's fun, and then again, if it doesn't work, you don't have to send it in.
Right. Right.
But if you're in the kitchen, why not be in the kitchen? As long as things aren't distracting.
Distracting.
As long as
Okay.
it's not what's going on, you've got your roommate walking back and forth, half dressed. Well, okay, maybe not.
That's like my dog half the time.
Right.
You just hear the pitter patter. I'm like, move. No, this is my good take.
Okay, so I have to ask,
Yeah.
acting class.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important? What did you find that you got out of it or get out of it?
Acting class, I think, is so important. When I first really started taking acting seriously, this is back in 2017, I came to Spicer Sturgis for the first time, and I found out that you can learn acting. I didn't realize that was a thing, that
Yes.
you could practice and get better. And I think the education is so important, but the community, I found that so valuable. Showing somewhere where you show up week after week with people, like-minded people who are all doing the same thing in a profession where a lot of people come from, I came from a job previously. People, outsiders look at this as weird,
Yes,
and it is
it is.
weird. So to find other weirdos like you who can enjoy it together and learn together and give yourself the freedom to do that, was so invaluable to me, and I appreciate that so much to this day. And because you learn in there, you find your friends in there, and you find community in there, and you find a way into the business through there. My very first role I booked was Beatrice from class gave me a huge recommendation to go help reading sides in an audition. And she said, hey, I gave your name if you'd be interested in doing that. And that was the casting office, Koloff and Nicola, who did Animal Control.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up going there and doing that for years, just reading sides in auditions. And that's how I booked my first, co-star was with them. That's from someone I met in class because I did a scene on a Thursday night. So you never, like what I said earlier, you never know how it's going to work out for you. So you just have to put yourself in the situation to succeed as much as possible. And I think acting class is at the center of that. You go, you get better, you meet friends, and you get introduced to the business.
And sometimes, even with great actors, you can find your weaknesses or those places
Yeah.
where, like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have to work on being more intimidating or
Yes.
being an asshole
Yes.
when, you know.
Yeah, the amount of times where we've gotten to say, okay, the next 4, 5, 6 months, I'm only gonna do roles where I have to flirt
Right.
because I'm uncomfortable doing that. So let me just practice that, or seduce, or let me, like you said, be a tough guy. You can go even if you do everything else great, you can go explore and do different things. And oh man,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the scenes we've done in class, like you said, lobby hero, and there's just been so many good. What was
White
that?
torture is wrong with Priscilla.
Oh yeah. What was the one with Risha, and it was the billionaire who had her sequestered. You know, it was that one weird show. It was a good limited series show, and he's like a billionaire,
Oh,
and he
yes, because it was Billy.
Billy
Billy
Magnuson,
show.
right?
Yeah, because I was telling him that you were
Oh,
doing a scene, and
oh, that was so
I was like,
fun.
he was so good.
That was so fun.
Um,
And is
oh,
that's where you learn? Because I remember in that scene, I learned a specific lesson. You said, follow your impulse. I know you wanted to do that. Just follow your impulse.
I remember that
I
very
said,
well.
okay, I'll give myself permission from now on. And yeah, it's really important. I highly recommend everyone to get in acting class. Yeah.
I actually say a lot of times for actors that are more experienced, like when I get a great idea, I can tell that you gave it to me. You know, like I know I could see that. And it's like, I just felt like you weren't giving yourself permission. And
That's
it's
so
like,
funny. You say, I saw you had an impulse to do
yeah,
this. And you're right. How did you know that? I thought about that for half a second. You
yeah,
saw
I
that
can
in me?
see that censorship,
That's so
you
funny.
know. Uh, oh gosh, what was I
And the
going to
great
say?
ones don't censor, you know?
Right,
You show up to set and you just do it.
right.
Just
If
let
you think
them
about the
censor you.
actors that
Let
you
them censor
love,
you. Yeah.
they're not like, oh,
Should I do
Denzel's not
that?
like, I hope I don't upset anybody.
Yeah,
They're going to be mad if I do that. No,
No.
this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I was thinking when you were talking about how Beatrice got you that in the casting office, um, Adeline and Sam
Yeah.
from Working Actors Workshop, and she got cast in a movie, and she fought for Sam to get the movie. And Sam, we did about 5 auditions for it, and then she booked it.
That's
And like
incredible.
and Sam did a great job, but Adeline was like, yes, she would be great for
And
this.
championed for her, and that's
Yeah.
community and
And off
showing
they
up.
went to Thailand
And
for months.
and that doesn't happen if you're not there every week, putting in good work, showing up with a good attitude. I realized a lot of it's the similar principles on set. So you show up, you're prepared, you come prepared, you be nice to everyone, you have a good attitude, you do a good work, and because that's your those are your colleagues, and on set you're working with your colleagues every day, so you got to show up prepared, have a good attitude, because you're living together for a long time.
Have you ever had a difficult actor on set? And
Yeah.
how did you deal with that?
They were lessons. Working
Uh-huh.
with difficult actors was are there's lessons in that, because you can say, okay, that's how I don't want to work every day. That's how I don't want to show up to work every day. And I think how you deal with it is like, you just focus on yourself, I guess, and do the best you can, and whatever that means. Um,
Hopefully, there's something in the relationship that allows you to maybe let that in, like,
yeah,
"Okay,
yeah,
they."
yeah, and then you're coming from a place of truth.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and
yeah.
and then sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to love that person or whatever, so you have to make it
Right.
work. And it's a matter of professionalism. Everyone's showing up to do a good job, and so if you can um, be unselfish and put the show or the movie or whatever the project is at the forefront, then the other stuff can fall to the wayside.
The difficult actors I often find are just coming from a place of fear.
Yeah.
They're afraid that they're not prepared as they should
Yeah.
be. They're afraid of something, and it's
Hmm.
how they deal with that fear.
Right.
So, yeah.
Whereas you look at where I said Alexander Siddig, he's worked on Peaky Blinders, Star Trek, Game of Thrones, so seasoned actor, and he comes from a place of generosity and gratitude, and he still has time for everyone. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's a good like North Star to be. So there's lessons in everything, and the same way you show up to set, same way you show up to class, same way you show up to anywhere you go every day.
Oh, that's great. So
Yeah.
anything else you wanna before
Um,
I send you off?
nothing else. I would just say it's the interesting thing is how to plug along. You know, I worked for 4 months as a series regular. I had to move to a new state. I was in New Mexico for 4 months. You come back, you think, oh, everything's changed, everything's different. No, you got to get back in line and kind of keep grinding, and that was hard to cope with at first. It's like, what do I do now? You're telling me I have to like go back to what I was doing before, and you do. You got to get back in. You just got to keep working, keep working, keep working, because nothing's a guarantee. So you just show up with a good attitude everywhere you are, and people will take notice if you're doing good work. So
Keep doing what you're doing and save the money you made.
yeah, yeah. It goes by fast. I mean, gas these days.
I
Come
know.
on.
I remember, series regular and everybody's getting a new car, and I'm like, "Does your old car run?"
Yeah.
Because,
It was only one season. Did you know
not
that?
that I don't believe in you, but, it's
It's
because it is a marathon.
it
You're gonna
is.
wanna be in it for the long haul.
It
You're
is.
gonna wanna be Andrew.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna wanna be there like, "Okay,
Yeah,
well,
yep. I want to be there a
wonderful."
long time and look back and look fondly at these days where you didn't know what was next, as that was the fun and the mystery of it all.
Well, I think next is probably moving to Dallas. All right.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.